You heard. It ain't even real.
You wish you had hair like this.
Girl, you know you weren't even born with blue eyes.
That's right. Blue contact lenses. They're just jealous.
Right.
Jealous. Rachel, I've been watching you look at Julian. You're not slick.
If that was true, he wasn't much to look at.
Tell me, Rachel.
Pickaninny, Barbie doll, high yellow heifer,
Tar baby. Wanna be white, jigaboo.
don't start.
We're gonna finish it.
Yeah.
Man, getting into it now.
Yeah.
Ow!
Classic school days material.
Yeah, that was from school days. Where they pretty much dealt with that issue the whole time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Light skin versus dark skin. Are we being racist against ourselves? It's really the question. How do y'all feel about it?
I'm gonna let one of my ladies first.
Yeah, I think that racism still exists within the black community when it comes to skin color.
Why?
Because I've experienced it. I mean, I see it. I just see it around me. Like those I guess the things that we kind of complain about with other races, what they think about us, we think about each other.
Gotcha.
We'll do it like in-house, but it's like it's not okay for anybody else to do it. But within your own community, it's kind of like brother and sister. I can hit you, but he can't hit you because he's not related.
Now, how many people in here have taken the paper bag test before? No, seriously.
I did playing around with my friends.
One person. No, anybody else has taken that brown paper bag test? Anybody else?
You gotta explain.
Well, the test is this. They used to do this to show if you were light skin or brown skin. If you know the store, you go to the store and they give you a brown paper bag to put your items in. So if you would get that brown paper bag and put it up against your hand or something, and if the brown paper bag was darker than you, then you would consider light skin.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I was asked. You know what I mean? So
I mean, how many people would pass that test in here? Two of us? Not me. My brother.
Yes, you would. You would pass.
You a brown skin brother.
He want to hold up the dark part of his arm.
My brother.
But where did they put it up to? Did they put it? They
put it up to like your hand or your arm and put it next to it.
Come on now.
Anybody has a brown paper bag?
I know you got one. We're gonna do a brown paper bag test.
That's racist. We're trying to get away.
We're gonna do that here right now.
Nah, but I mean, I think from that time in slavery, that whole thing carried on amongst ourselves, where either somebody felt privileged because they were lighter than the brown paper bag, or you had animosity towards somebody who didn't even really feel privileged. They just were being themselves, but you just felt like they were Hasididi.
But like if you really think about it, like this is a slavery topic, really, because the separation of slave was always, if you was in a house, that means that you were lighter than everybody else that was darker and that was workers in the fields.
I was on the patio. Let's just say that. Can I say that?
Sure.
He was on the patio. He was on the porch.
Anyway,
no, but this topic is that, you know what I mean? Because and then it broke us down to a point where now we think that light skin is either better than dark skin. You know what I mean? That perception.
I will say that I think this happens more with women, just because amongst men,
we just joke like, yo, you trying to bring light skin back? You ain't doing that. Or
but I would say this, because I'm serious when I don't think I ever fit into any category. Like I don't look like Kid from Kid and Play. I don't look like him, but I also don't look like Play. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I never felt like when light skinned dudes was in, I ain't feel like I fit in there. Now that dark skinned dudes are back, I don't feel like I fit in them either. So I always try to play the fence. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to jump on whichever side, and I just never. You know what I'm saying? The red dudes never really landed. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so like it's been, but amongst dudes, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I think with women, it really hurts.
Yeah. Because a lot of men base that off of who they gonna date. Some men like, I ain't dating a dark skinned girl. I'm dating only light skinned women.
Yeah. So
that's something that, you know, is wrong in its essence. I mean, it's not wrong based off somebody's opinion if they feel like, you know, I don't want to date this person like that.
What they'll say is it's wrong if the reason you like light-skinned girls is because of culture.
Yeah.
Not because that's what you really want.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, whether it's natural or not, there are a lot of black guys who skip light skin. They just go straight to white.
Yeah.
and some of that is a natural attraction, but some of it is status. Like, people have joked about it. Oh, when I get rich, then, I'll date a white girl.
Yeah.
Is it because that's status, or is that a natural attraction?
I think it's status. It's like I'm almost upgrade. You know what I mean? Like, I think about like some dudes probably start off with, when you on your grind, you start off with whatever you want to start off with, whoever you think is cute or whoever. And then once you get status, you get into that mindset of, like, a lot of men get in that mindset of, I need to have a trophy, quote unquote. And that's what the trophy is. Either somebody who is considered high yellow, what they say light skin, or somebody who is white or Caucasian.
I mean, and what a lot of people have been studying is that either, because, I mean, a lot of them are assuming that's culture ingrained, but a lot of this has been studied on with kids, where they'll bring a black girl in, and they'll have pictures on a piece of paper, 5 different drawings of a girl, all different shades, and they'll ask them questions like, which is the good girl, which is the bad girl, and they'll say the good girl is the white one, and the bad one is the dark one, which is the pretty one, which is the ugly one. They'll do that like that. And I have my own beats with those tests, but over and over again, they've shown that people consistently consider lighter as better. You know what I mean?
But another thing is, you got to think about it too. Like, when you think of, from society standpoint, going back to the light skin, dark skin thing, when you consider the standpoint as who they put out as the hottest black woman out, you think of Beyonce or somebody of that Halle Berry. All these women are not like completely dark skinned women. They're light women. You know what I'm saying? And like your sister was saying earlier, like, if you notice that Beyonce seems like she's almost getting lighter every commercial or whatever she's doing. But it's just that the mindset is always almost, I don't know if it's a media thing. If you really think about it, it's like, are they setting our race up to be like, if you're not close to quote unquote white, or if you're not close to like the model type looking woman, which is the majority of the time white women, then you don't have the right person that you need to have, or you're not better than anybody else.
Yeah, it could be. But all that to say is, all that the sum total is, a lot of people who are darker, especially women, have pain like growing up. Hearing stories of just people like wishing that they were light skinned, or you develop a bitterness for people who are light skinned just because it's like, man, I wish I was like them. They get all the attention, they get all the dues, and whatever. So we actually found this documentary. It's a preview of a documentary called Dark Girls, where you get to kind of hear straight from the mouths of people who have been hurt by this whole issue. We're not gonna play the whole thing, just enough so you get a taste of it. Yeah. And then we'll come back. Hold on.
I can remember being in the bathtub asking my mom to put bleach in the water so that my skin would be lighter, and so that I could escape the feelings that I had about not being as beautiful, as acceptable, as lovable.
If we're all just hanging around and a dark-skinned girl will pass by, they'll be, oh, well, she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And I'm like, well, what is that supposed to mean?
I used to wish that I can wake up one day lighter, or wash my face and think that it will change. I thought it was dirt, and I tried to clean it off, but it wouldn't come off.
Just doing something small as standing in front of the class to do show and tell. I wouldn't look up. I wouldn't make eye contact with anyone. I would hold my toy really tight because I knew my toy loved me, even if they didn't.
Here comes Blackie. Here comes Tar Baby. I remember one in particular, they used to say, "You stayed in the oven too long." And that was really hurtful.
They would do it every single day without let up. On the playground, in the classroom, in the cafeteria, just constantly you got it. So I didn't really have a high self-esteem.
It was so damaging. It made us feel like we weren't wanted, that we were less than.
My mother and her friend, we were driving somewhere, and she's bragging on me. She said, my daughter is beautiful. She's got great eyelashes. She's got the cheekbones. She's got great lips. And then she's going on and she adds, could you imagine if she had any lightness in her skin at all? She'd be gorgeous. And just that last little part, just all that pride that I had about her, having her brag on me, just dissipated.
Wow. Well, let the ladies talk. I mean, we just saying stuff. We got a room full of women. If you want to talk about this, too hurtful.
It's sinking in the room. What y'all think?
Yeah.
Everybody's just looking straight ahead, staring. Like, I mean, some of that was hard to hear, man.
Yeah, it is. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Wow. I don't really feel qualified to speak on that because I guess I've always been on the other end of that spectrum where I've been called, bright, high yellow or red bone or whatever. And I was just sharing with a friend, while we were on break about how I didn't really experience those terminology or terms until I came down here to the South, like up in the Midwest or the North or wherever. It was really about black versus white. It wasn't really, you would experience the color complex, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is down here in the South. And so listening to that, it just gripped me because while I may not have been on the receiving end of that, I just feel like those experiences, that the young ladies on that video talked about, have somehow contributed to maybe a negative perspective or perception that they have of fair skinned or lighter skinned women, black women. I mean, it's so division regardless. And so I think that's probably what hurts the most to me. Like there's still division within the race versus, the unity that I feel like we need to be working towards and trying to figure out, gosh, how have I contributed to that, or how have other people contributed to that, and what can really be done to address that. So
yeah, what another question, a good question to ask is this. I know this is how we hearing this from a documentary, like this is how the world thinks. You think it's the same in the black church?
absolutely.
You think it's the same thing in a black church?
You don't?
No, I'm just asking, like, do you think? I mean, because you would think that a woman is a woman in a church. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what your skin color. But do y'all think it is? Maya said, of course.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it can happen. I don't know. I think the older you get, the more it goes away. Just because this is such a... I think a lot of the problems that these people are having is based on just relationships and dating. So I think, the older you get and the more away from that time of your life you get, it may decrease. But
I think like some of those women, because I remember seeing that clip, some of those women look like they were like maybe 30s. You know what I'm saying? So they still hurt by something they heard when they were kids. So yeah. I think the thing is, it may still hurt even when you get married, or you may carry that racism over to your children when they get married or something.
Yeah, my name is Camille Grant. I'm Sean's sister, and I was raised by my mom, who is completely light skinned, and I'm kind of in the mid range like my brother, where we don't know what we are yet. But basically, I was raised with the kindness of my mom. She just said, "You are beautiful, whoever you are." So I never had that issue where my mom was like, "Go into a bathtub and scrape off your dirt." I don't understand that. That's what I heard from that video was really sad. And my mom just taught me how to be the woman that I am. I'm dealing with nerdiness and other things, so that's why this topic is not for me really, but I never really had that issue.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
I was going to say too, I think probably what Jeremiah was speaking about earlier, while we may feel like it is reflected more so in the dating situation, I think overall it's just reflective of the self-esteem that women either have or don't have growing up, and what's instilled on the inside of them, which could or could not affect their dating scenario. But I think just from a broader standpoint, it just overall affects your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, how you hold yourself, how you interact with other people, whether or not that confidence is or isn't there, which is more overall.
Yeah, I think that what Camille said is really true. Even if, I'm light-skinned, so I can't really identify, from a dark-skinned girl's perspective, but I can identify with, like, a flaw. I know for me, just growing up being so skinny, that's something that I still deal with today, and I've come a long way. But I know, like, if somebody keeps beating the flaw into you or keep reminding you of it, like, you're this, and that's not good, it's something that can be hard for you to deal with when it comes to being, like, in a relationship. You're always thinking about it, even if the person that you're with is not. It's like in the back of your mind, it can still be like, man, am I too small, or am I too dark, am I too light, whatever. So I can understand from that perspective.
Man, I mean, at the end of the day, it's I think people just need to be reminded that everybody doesn't think the way they think.
Yeah.
And I think it just goes back to, it's the same issue that people have with racism. If you haven't seen somebody act other than the bad way you've seen one person act, you think everybody acts that way. And it's the same way around. Like if you're a dark-skinned girl, or you had some issue with your self-esteem in the past, not everybody thinks the way the person that made you feel bad thinks.
Right.
And I think you just need to know that somebody's going to love your skin color. Somebody's going to love whatever you think is wrong with you. There's nothing wrong,
Yeah.
And just because the people are immediately around you may all be saying the same thing, not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody that is going to accept it and love it and celebrate it. So